What's up, guys? Back with another trade recap. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, and had a red day today. Really just a choppy day across the market. I'll get into the specific trades, but I feel like days like today are really what makes or breaks a trader. It's not really your best days, but your worst days and how you handle those and prevent red days from becoming big red days that really make or break you as a trader. So I'll get into the trades. I definitely over traded a little bit today. Probably got a little bit too aggressive trying to make back some losses, and today just wasn't the day to really push it. So let's get into it. Flip over to the journal to start, and we'll go back to the day. So as you can see here, my discipline was not very great today. I took 5 trades, which is above what I usually try to stick to, which is around 3 trades. Usually, if after 3 trades, I'm not green or I don't have any green trades, it usually doesn't get better from there. And today was no different. Let's see, I re-entered without pausing in between trades, getting in and out of Intel, and I was just really getting chopped up there, which I'll dive into in a minute. I usually try to avoid trading multiple names at once as well, and I jumped into a QQQ trade that I thought was breaking out, and that caused me to take a loss there. And that was probably the biggest mistake that I made today. And then just continuing to trade, even though I was down on the day. I should have just stopped and sat on my hands and just kind of walked away. Yesterday I was up about $1,000, so I gave back almost all of that gain. On the plus side, I had one trade that was $1,000, so that covered these 5 losses. But really, I should have just walked away once I realized today was just going to be a choppy kind of sideways day. So let's actually start off just looking at the futures quickly. I'll pop back over to Thinkorswim. So you can see here we sold off today, but most of that move happened in the pre-market. And then we dropped below this level around 74.62, and then we've kind of been just dancing around that. If you look at the NQ, kind of same thing. So definitely a lot of bearish sentiment coming into the market today. But most of that move happened in the pre-market, and then we just kind of chopped around this range for most of the session. If we go down to like a 5-minute chart, you can see here we kind of just went back and forth in this range, and then now it looks like we're breaking to the downside. And I think that made it hard to get continuation on a lot of names across the market. So if we go back to the journal, obviously I took a few trades on Intel, both long and short, which is not a great sign, and really just got chopped up. So let's dive into Intel. Let's actually look at the higher time frame first to kind of see where these levels are coming from. So if I go on the 4-hour chart on Intel, you can see going back to a few weeks ago, you had this rejection right around 135. You had another rejection right around 135. And so this was clearly a level of resistance. We had gotten above that and turned it into support and pulled back into it. And then in the pre-market, we flushed below that level and we're kind of trading in a range below it. I got interested in Intel on a reclaim of that level, which is this demand zone that you see right here. And as we pushed right up into that level right at the open, so Intel was looking pretty bullish. And also at this time, the market was recovering after selling off. So you had some upside momentum on the market as well. And so I got interested in the long here, seeing if we could reclaim this previous day high and push up towards the previous day close. As you can see, we just chopped around this level for the better part of 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours even, before we broke the level and moved down. And so uh, I took what, like two trades in this level, or at this zone, seeing if we could bounce from here. One trade was break even, just about, so that was that trade. And then a second trade I actually took a loss on. Figured I would give it a little bit more room on the stop, but obviously it just kind of stopped me out. And then I moved on to the QQQ trade, which I'll come back to, and then tried Intel again, which, yeah, definitely should have not taken this trade and just, yeah, clearly it wasn't moving. And I should have just walked away at this point. But I tried Intel again. It looked like it was going to finally hold this time. I think that was somewhere in here. And then, boom, got smacked down, stopped out again, took another loss there. And then tried to flip short at the end of the day. This was just kind of after the time that I usually stop trading. But you could clearly see that it was rejecting here, and I got stopped out again. I had a pretty tight stop loss on this. And yeah, had I executed this better, I probably could have made back some of the loss, but I really should have just not even been trading at this point. And yeah, ended up getting stopped out on that as it sold off lower. So what's the lesson in all of this? I think, one, just noticing that the market was, kind of trading sideways and in a channel after we had sold off aggressively in the pre-market should have been maybe a sign that, today things could be a little choppy. Also, we have MU earnings coming up on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And that's probably going to have an outsized impact on semis and memory names and kind of everything that's holding up this market right now. And so I think that's also contributing to a little bit of the choppiness. But it's hard to know exactly, if it's going to be a choppy day or not. At least I haven't figured out how to detect that in advance. So really just knowing to walk away. Like once I started to see just how choppy and up and down this was, I should have just walked away from it. The issue was, there weren't many other names or opportunities that were presenting themselves on the market. Everything was pretty choppy unless you caught some of these opening pushes. So, yeah, really, I should have just, sat on my hands, not traded, and just walked away once I realized it was choppy. But let's go into QQQ quickly, because I think this one is interesting. You can see here we pretty much have just been in this channel the entire session, just completely sideways, which is, unless you're a channel trader and you enter perfectly on either side of the channel, these are difficult moves to catch. But if we go over to the Thinkorswim chart quickly, the mistake that I made here was actually I had the wrong read on the level. So if I adjust these levels quickly, the level I was trading off of originally was something like this, right? I had this pre-market level marked on my chart, and originally I had this this red zone was green because I figured we broke above this and it turned it into support. And so I actually went long on this hold of support here. And yeah, for a second, it looked like, we could break out. Like we, found some support down here at this demand. We reclaimed this level, and I was looking for a push up to the 20 daily moving average. Of course, that's not what happened. We pushed up and rejected this level, which if I go over a little bit to the right, I think there was a level here in the pre-market too. So really, you can see the price action reacting at both of these levels. So, it's not that I was wrong about a level being there, but I think I had kind of the wrong read, obviously in hindsight, on the Qs and on some of the other ETFs. And I probably should have been a little bit more cautious of a fake out to the upside, just given the bearish sentiment, right? I probably should have been looking for a lot more confirmation that we were actually reclaiming and pushing higher before I entered this trade long. So obviously got stopped out on that, and that was the end of that QQQ trade. So yeah, again, I think one of my rules that I have in place, again, is to not trade multiple names at once. I try to just focus on one name at a time. If I had done that, I would have avoided this QQQ trade entirely. And yeah, so I think today I really just lost some discipline coming off of a nice green day yesterday. And yeah, really can't blame anyone but myself. Should have seen the chop setting up and just been able to sit on my hands and walk away. But that's part of trading. There's always something new to learn every day, and that's part of what makes it interesting and exciting for me. So hopefully you guys can learn something from this, learn from my mistakes. I'm definitely still learning myself, but just putting this out there in case it's helpful for someone else. Obviously, this is strictly for educational purposes, not financial advice, unless you wanted to lose money along with me today. But yeah, we'll be back for the next trade recap.